Wait, was you here last week? Or was it Jay? I think it was Jay actually.
No, I can't remember when I was here last.
Yeah, it was Jay, I think. Because obviously you haven't seen the new chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
So much more comfy.
Oh, they're bloody epic. I love spinning on
But
them.
you're gutted that they... Yeah, this one's class as well. Like, this... no. Oof. Wait, I genuinely feel like I'm gonna... There's like... Because the floor isn't level here.
I know, it's so weird.
Jeez, I nearly went flying.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to fall through.
Yeah, so... Mate, that is epic, bro.
Can I have some of this?
Yeah, it's you.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks, man.
I saw this clip where it was like, oh... On TikTok, it was like, oh, bro. It said, oh, bro, let's start a podcast. And it says, and it has like a thing, the podcast, and it's like Theo Von and Justin Poirier is like, oh, I've come and knocked people out before, and I've not come and knocked people out before. And he's like, what? You just ejaculate, right?
That's good, actually.
Like I always see these like Theo Von videos on TikTok where it's like top 5 Theo Von moments, and there was like one where he's talking about when he was. Because he was like really poor when he was a kid, and they couldn't get porn, so there would be like a guy in their thing where you pay him $4, yeah, and he'd draw you like a pussy. And he'd be like, "Wow!" And then he was like, "What?" He's like, Joe Rogan's like $4. I mean, that's just for silly. He's like, "Oh, you pay 8." That clip always comes on my thing.
No, he's actually joking.
He's actually so funny. There was like another one the other day, and I was. There's so many, because I get so many Theo Von clips on my TikTok. Yeah. And I was genuinely in tears. I can't remember which one it was, but he just makes me die with laughter. Like, he's so
actually
funny.
The funniest bloke I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's bare funny.
Apparently he's not actually as good as like a comedian, like stand-up.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently stand-up isn't that great.
I've seen clips, I've seen him live, and not I haven't seen him live, but I've seen watch some of it, and he still makes me laugh.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, some of the things he comes out with just...
Yeah, it's just so strange.
The funniest one when he says like, he done like a 4-day fast and he was so hungry. He was like, "Oh, I thought I could eat this Vietnamese guy at Best Buy or something." He was like, "I feel like a Vietnamese person would be way more understanding over a 2-day period." But he was like, "If you eat a black lady, their family's gonna be pissed."
He's spot on as well. He's on.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's spot on. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, he makes me crazy.
Yeah. What's Joe Rogan's last pod?
He does so many. He does like 3 episodes a week. But I downloaded one that I'm going to listen to with this comedian Duncan Trussell. He done one this week, so I'm going to listen to that. But sometimes when it's obviously I do listen to it when it's people I don't know. Yeah. When it's someone I don't know, I'll like read what they do. If it's like someone I'm just not interested in at all, like an ex-army person or like a politician, I just don't care. But then when it's like, oh, this comedian I've never heard of, or I don't know, they might be a singer, I'll be like, oh, I'll listen to that, or a director or something. It'd be really good. Like the other day, he had Quentin Tarantino on.
Oh, that.
And this other, he's been on before, but this other movie guy, like his like partner, and they just talked about films for like 3-4 hours. So good.
That's interesting. Actually. Yeah,
and they're just so interesting. Like they were just talking for like 4 hours about films. It was just really, really good.
Oh, did you watch a new film today?
No, I don't know. I woke up and I was knackered. Like I woke up and then I literally went back to bed for like 3 hours. I just couldn't. It's weird. Like when it's Christmas to New Year, it's like. I don't know, like, you just don't know what day it is, and it's just a bit like,
I know what you mean.
You're just knackered and you don't really have a routine and stuff, and it's just a bit weird sort of thing. Yeah. So, no, I haven't watched a film.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a Friday at all.
No, it doesn't. It feels more like, I don't even know, like a Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
I need to watch, but yeah, I have made a list of films that I need to watch. So, I started, what did I watch this week? I watched Eyes Wide Shut for the first time, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Then the next day I watched Die Hard, which was good. I hadn't seen that before. Die Hard was good.
Good film.
What other things have I got on that list? Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, so I'm going to watch that soon.
I just see so many clips of that on YouTube.
Well, Good Will Hunting. Yeah. I've never seen anything about it. I know Matt Damon's in it, and I think... Oh, the guy that was in... what's his name? He was in Mrs. Doubtfire.
I'm so bad with...
he committed suicide like 10 years ago.
Oh.
And he's like a really hairy guy. And he was in Mrs. Doubtfire and...
what's his name?
Hook. He done like... what was his name? I literally heard somebody talking about him the other day.
That's going to annoy me now.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have to Google that one.
Oh, but I can't... What is his name? Oh...
Yeah, I actually can't remember.
But yeah, him. Yeah, Good Will Hunting. There's loads of... I can't remember what else is on the list that I put on there. Like Donnie Brasco... Taxi Driver was on there.
Yeah.
Casino, which I've never seen. Yeah, there's so many films I need to watch. I haven't seen a lot of the classics. I've seen half of them, but I haven't seen a lot of the others.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of Casino.
I think it's De Niro and Al Pacino.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Never even heard of that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I've started trying to read.
Read what, like books?
Yeah, believe it or
What
not.
kind of book? Like fictional books? Or
Yeah, just random fiction books.
Okay.
I just picked up a random one from Waterstones. It's a bit weird, but I'm giving it a chance.
So are you doing audiobooks or are you actually reading them?
No, God, I don't want to pay for Audible, man. Like, there's some apps.
Do you have to pay for them? Is it not just like...
Yeah, you got to pay for them on Audible. There's like an app called Libby. If you link it to your library card, you can get free ones.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just too lazy for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to read, but I don't really read books.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And also as well, even though I don't read books, but I think the idea of actually reading a book is better than not better, but it just feels more, I don't know, real than as opposed to listening to an audiobook or a Kindle.
Yeah,
even though it's the exact same thing because you're not getting different information, but
Yeah.
something about it where you're just reading it seems more
Yeah.
thingy. Yeah, that is good, I
right.
suppose. But I don't know. Yeah, books I've never really got into. I like reading things about history and stuff, but reading books I've never really done, sort of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, neither do I. That's what I'm trying to see if I enjoy it. If
Yeah.
not, then I'll just go back to doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I didn't really even read. Like, I've never even read Harry Potter or anything. I always thought, like, when I was a kid, I remember people used to queue up outside to read them, but they're just like, I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but they're massive books. And I was thinking, oh, could you imagine like reading this as a kid as well? Like, it just seems like work.
Yeah, Harry Potter is absolutely class.
I've never even seen the films as well.
Mate,
That's why I've never watched Game of Thrones, because I was just kind of like, I might give it a try. But as a kid, I just thought, oh, this is all
You're
a bit
not
crap.
interested in fantasy stuff.
Yeah, but now I've heard people say Game of Thrones is really good. It's not even about the fantasy, that I might just watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to watch Game of Thrones.
Have you not seen it? I thought you'd seen it.
Seen it.
Oh, okay. But whereas Harry Potter, I'm sure it is good, but now I feel like I'm just too old to watch it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is partly nostalgia.
Yeah. But
Harry
no, people
Potter.
still say it's great. Like, a lot of people
is
that I
good.
work with, they love Harry Potter, and they still say that the films are amazing, kind of thing.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
But there's
really
like
good.
10. How many films are there?
There's 7.5. But it's,
What do you
it's
mean
like
7.5?
8. It's because the 7th one is split into 2.
Oh, okay,
So
right.
it's like part 1, part 2. So the 7th one isn't really a film. It's
Yeah.
all right, but
J.K. Rowling wrote those, and she's like, I think she's one of the richest women in the UK because she's a billionaire from those books.
yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I was about to say really, and then I thought,
Yeah, she's like a
not
billionaire, and she done a I think they released like a Harry Potter game franchise last year on like Nintendo or PlayStation. And I saw how much millions she's made just from that, which is crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. But I think they're making a new Harry Potter, but
What film?
I think they're doing like a series or maybe like a spin-off series. I don't know. I've seen people, because I'm not really that interested in watching. Because I've been there, done that with Harry Potter. I enjoyed the films. I don't really want to watch what else they bring out.
Yeah.
But they're bringing out a series, and I've seen people getting annoyed that Snape is black or something like that.
What's Snape?
Snape is like one of the professors in the book
Oh,
and
okay.
in the film, and he died recently. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And he's been replaced by a black guy apparently.
Oh yeah.
And people are like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know with that. Like, sometimes it does make sense to not change it. It depends on the setting. I think with fantasy and stuff, it doesn't really matter because you know, like in Star Wars, you know, like Samuel L. Jackson plays Mace Windu.
Yeah.
If they released a new Star Wars 30 years later and I don't know, Tom Holland played him, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it was like, I don't know, what's like a remake of an old film where it was like this, not that it was important that the character is that color or race, but I don't know, say you made...
What, like Aladdin or something like that?
Yeah. Say if you made Aladdin like a white guy or a black, you'd be like, well, that doesn't really make... Because it's set in like Asia, kind of. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas, it's like I always see those memes where it has like Ryan Gosling playing like Martin Luther King. It's so jokes. It's like Ryan Gosling is Martin Luther King or something, or they'll have like Hugh Jackman is like Malcolm X or something like that.
Or is it Rosa Parks?
Oh yeah, it'd be like Jennifer Lawrence is Rosa Parks or something.
Oh, and I'd watch it.
Yeah, because I think actually funny. Speaking of Jennifer Lawrence, I'm not big into films, but I remember she used to get a lot of criticism for like doing films where they're saying the character should have been culturally someone else or it shouldn't have been done like by a white lady or something. And she would do like a lot of films where there might be someone they were, I don't know, Pacific Islander or I don't know, but she would.
Yeah.
I remember she used to get a lot of criticism for doing too many films or too many roles or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't actually heard anything about that.
I think it was a few years ago, but I mean, I'm not even big into films, but I remember hearing it at the time, like, oh, she'll just do anything and this and that kind of thing. Yeah.
She's got a film with, I think it's Bradley Cooper. It's like a really good film.
Not Tiger Game.
It's called
Hunger Games.
No, that one. So it's obviously good as well. But I liked that when I was younger. But I think it's called like Silver Linings or something like that. Silver Linings Playbook or something like that. I would definitely recommend that one.
Jennifer Lawrence. Okay.
Yeah, it's I think it might have De Niro in it or one of those guys.
Oh yeah. Silver Lining.
Yeah. Silver Linings Playbook or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, that does sound kind of familiar. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's so many films that I just haven't seen. I'm not big into films because, I mean, I love films, but it's because it's such a commitment to watch them.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like with a series, you can sort of stop and then you can. But I feel like with films, you have to watch it all the way through and make the time to do it. And whereas with a series, you can just go, okay, I'll come back to this.
Yeah, that's so true. I watched, I listened to or read whatever, some story of some bloke who was trying to get his girlfriend to watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And she would obviously say, no, I'm not watching a 2-hour film. So
2 hours? It's not that long.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 films, but one of them is like 3 hours long.
Oh, you have to watch all of them.
2 and a bit.
Yeah.
So then he was like, okay, and then he split it all up into like 30-second segments, and then put like end credits and start credits between each segment, and said it's a series. And then she watched the whole thing in one go.
Wait, so hold on, explain that again. So
these films are like really long.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
And he's edited them and split them up. So there's start credits and end credits in like 30-minute segments.
Oh,
to make
I
it
see.
seem like a series, like an 18-part, 20-part series.
Oh my, okay.
And she's just watched it the whole way through.
How did she not realise that that's like not done? Or
It's probably a fake story. It's like one of those Reddit stories.
I see. Yeah.
I just found it quite funny because it's true. It's the sort of thing I'd do. I'd be like, 2-hour film? Nah.
Yeah.
4-part 30. Yeah. I'll watch that.
Yeah, that's so true. That's another one I haven't seen, Lord of the Rings. I just feel like fantasy and stuff never appealed to me.
I haven't watched Lord of the Rings either.
Even Star Wars films, like when I was a kid, I loved Star Wars.
Yeah.
But then I don't get how people. I mean, I can get how people can like anything, but with Star Wars, I'm just a bit sort of. I don't know. And I just felt like obviously they need to make money. It's one of the biggest film franchises ever.
Yeah.
But the story was perfect. Like they had 3 films, they've done it back to front, and then they completed the series, and they're like, oh no, we're going to do more, and then it just kind of. They're carrying on a story that was already finished, sort of thing. Yeah. And I was just a bit like, but that happened as an adult, but I was never going to watch them anyway. It's just too much.
I know what you mean. I watched like obviously the 4th, 5th, and 6th for the originals, and then the other 3 came out, the prequels. They were good as well, and then they brought out more.
When did that come out? Like 10 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a bit longer. And then I watched. It's probably longer than 10, maybe 15 years now. So then I watched the new ones. That was like.
It's like an extra 3 films, isn't it?
Yeah, and I watched the first one, and I was like, okay, that was all right. I tried to watch the second one. I was like, I can't do it.
The order must be kind of confusing because it's like, what order does it go in, sort of?
Yeah, so it's like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9.
So hold on. So did who were in like these newer ones? Do you remember?
It was
or like stars today, obviously.
It was the Daisy Ridley or whatever her name is. I can't remember. And then it's the black guy as the stormtrooper, who you'll probably know. I can't remember his name.
Black guy. Oh, I know who you mean. John Boyega.
Yeah. And he's pretty good in it. And then what's his something Driver. Adam Driver.
Oh, Adam Driver. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you know him, yeah.
The name sounds. I know the name, but I can't picture up.
You'll know him from the memes, but I'll show you them later.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Star Wars. That's another one. I just couldn't. But people do love them. But as a kid, I enjoyed it. I just certain things that you enjoy when you're a kid. It's like when I used to love WWE.
Yeah.
But when we got to secondary school, someone told me it was fake, and I just never watched it again.
Yeah,
I had like all the games, I had the belts, I had the toys, and then I thought it was real fighting, and then someone told me, "Oh no, that's fake," and I was just like, I had no interest in it at all.
Yeah. I wasn't really like that. I was when I was a kid, I hated like violence and blood and stuff.
Right.
And I remember going around my friend's house, and he's watching wrestling, and there's like a guy with fake blood all over his face, laying on the mat, and I'm like, that is the worst thing I've seen. I was like traumatized. I couldn't believe it.
But adults still, obviously people know it's fake, but it's still people love it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I get because people go, oh well, it's like a movie or a soap opera, which is true. It is like that, and it's dramatic, and it's like pantomime.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I just never, as an adult, I just couldn't get into it. But I tell you what is good to watch on Netflix: the Vince McMahon doc.
Right,
oh, it's so good. Even if you despise wrestling, it's such a good story. And I don't know anything about wrestling, but I watched that and I was like, wow, this is unbelievable kind of thing.
A lot of those documentaries do a good job of that. I remember people saying they don't watch Formula One and watching Drive to Survive. They're like, wow, I'm going to watch
Yeah, that got a lot of people into Formula One.
And then they watch Formula One and they're like, oh, wow, this is awful.
Yeah. No, I know a lot of people that did that, but they still like it. And they're like, wow, Formula One's great. Yeah. Because, I don't know, did you ever see The Last Dance? Michael Jordan. Oh, one of the best things I've ever seen on Netflix. And it came out during lockdown, and they would do sometimes 2 episodes a week. Yeah. And it would go through like his career and like the prime of his career and the team that he was in. And it was just so dramatic and it was so good. And obviously I know nothing about basketball, so I was like, wow, this is incredible. And they had like all this archive footage and stuff. And I had no interest in basketball, but I watched that and I was like, wow, that doc's unbelievable kind of thing.
The thing is, I could imagine myself enjoying basketball.
Oh, it's an interesting sport. Yeah. But I think one of the reasons why I can't get into it is obviously I watch so many other sports and also the timing. Yeah. It's always going to be on at a ridiculous time. Yeah. So I just can't really get into it, sort of thing.
It's interesting that you've managed to. When is it the sort of time that you decided, I'm going to start watching UFC at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Well, when I first started watching UFC, it's nearly like 10 years ago now, but back in the day, I was way more casual. I would only watch like McGregor fights or a Diaz fight or maybe a John Jones fight. I wasn't like, or a Masvidal fight when he was like coming up, and I would just be like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. But I was never like, I'm gonna watch every single one. Yeah. I think I started really watching pretty much all of them just before the pandemic, so like 2018, 2019. Because even 2018, I remember clearly watching Khabib versus McGregor. And obviously I watched that because it was McGregor getting up to watch it. But the other ones, I still wasn't watching them very regularly kind of thing. When they done, I sort of remember like a year before the pandemic, 2019, I was watching a lot of them. Yeah. And then when the pandemic came, I was pretty much watching every single one. Even before that, I was watching all of them kind of thing. And then when the pandemic hit, there was nothing else to watch, and then I started watching every single one. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I would say that's when I started because I had nothing else to do. Sort of thing.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because myself, I don't even really remember. I just remember, I think it was one of our friends, JP, he invited me to watch McGregor Aldo. Yeah. I didn't know who either of them were. I think I maybe heard of McGregor. Yeah. But I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, I'm going to watch this. Stayed up all night. He knocks him out in 10 seconds. I'm going to walk home now.
Yeah. Crazy.
But then after that, I don't remember.
Did you watch the fight before that? Because on that night, it was Luke Rockhold versus Chris Weidman for the middleweight strap.
Oh, I must have done, but I do not remember it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That was a great fight. Yeah. That was 9 years ago, which is crazy.
It's weird to think.
Yeah, exactly. But it must be great to live in America or Australia to watch those fights, and you don't have to like.
Oh, it must
it's a big commitment sometimes to just sort of get up and then you're tired and it's just like But yeah, I think that's when I sort of started. But it is kind of good when they do these UFC cards that are in different countries and then it's on at a better time, whether it's Saudi or UAE or when they come to England, like they're coming back to England in March, which is good. So. And I hope next time, I think they'll learn from the last time to not do, they'll have to do it at local time.
They cannot do that.
It was so bad. It was so terrible.
Yeah. Seeing all the videos of people just sleeping
falling asleep, And also, I think, it just affected the atmosphere as well.
It definitely did, yeah.
And it's just, no excuse for the fighters. I think it did affect them, but you can't really make an excuse because the other fighters, they still got to do the same thing. So, but it's just such a stupid decision, I think. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I'll never understand that one.
No.
But... Just going back to the basketball briefly.
Yeah, go on.
It's the WNBA that I kind of want to get into.
Yeah, because that's like gone into the mainstream because of Caitlin Clark and Angela Reese, I think her name is.
Yeah, because I keep looking up, you see when you go on YouTube and you want like a long video essay of someone talking about something that you don't really know anything about.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find like Caitlin Clark video essays because I want to know more about the sport, but I'm not going to watch it. I don't have the time.
Right.
It's because I'm interested in how well she's doing.
I think she won like their equivalent of like Sports Personality of the Year or something like that the other day.
I know it was between her and someone else for like MVP. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But I think there was like a big debate where the women, she didn't get picked for the women's Olympic thing. And a lot of people were saying that was a mistake because she's the biggest name. And if they want to grow the sport, they should
100%,
do that kind of thing. But yeah, it's weird how it just kind of blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
It's weird with American sports. They do their sports system different to ours, where it's like we have a thing where, say if you play football on a Sunday, you get scouted and you go to a trial, and if you're good, they keep you kind of thing. They sign you. Whereas in America, it's like they have a college system essentially.
Yeah.
And you have to get decent grades, obviously. But then you get assigned from the college, you get drafted.
Yeah,
it's not like that in America. It's completely different kind of thing. And
so, from my understanding, it was the team that was the worst in the league the season before got the first pick in the college draft, and that was as soon as Caitlin Clark was available, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to take her." So she was on the worst team.
Oh,
yeah.
Because that's another thing as well. I think apparently, do you remember when we met those guys in Prague?
Yeah.
And I remember them explaining to us how, because they were NFL coaches or whatever. They was explaining how the worse you do, say if you've got nothing to play for, you might get a better pick or something, or you might get a better draw, like against who you played the next season or something.
Yeah.
So like, say if you're not playing for anything, and obviously they haven't got, in America, they don't have the threat of relegation or losing out on money. So once you know you can't play for something, they sometimes say, oh, you might lose a game or you don't really care because you know that it might benefit you next season to get the first pick or something. Yeah.
I think it is an interesting system, but it's also a bit like
flawed.
Yeah, definitely flawed.
It's funny because when you hear Americans speak about when they start to watch like football or rugby or whatever, they're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Because everyone's playing for something throughout the whole year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas in America, if you're in the NBA or the NFL, if you haven't made the playoffs or this and that, what's the point? Like you're like, okay, well, we've got nothing to cheer for. And also as well, you know, the team. I don't know how it works in the playoff. I don't know if you've got to finish in a certain position or whatever. But if you know that all you got to do is finish 8th out of, I don't know, 30 teams, you're like, oh well, we're in the playoffs. We don't need to like kill ourselves to win. Sort of thing. Yeah. So, like that guy Ariel Helwani who does an MMA show, a couple of years ago they were like, we need a team to support in the Premier League. Yeah. And he was like, guys, the season's going to start soon. Send us in who we're going to support, and us, the team. There's like 3 or 4 of them, and they're like, we'll support this team, but you have to give us a good reason why, and we'll go through all of them. Yeah. And like there were some people that were like, oh, you should support Liverpool, we're one of the most successful teams or whatever. And they were like, no, we don't want like the best team. We don't want Man City or Liverpool. Yeah. We want someone who's a bit smaller and basically give us a good reason. And some people were like, oh, Villa, we won the Champions League back in the day. We're like a sleeping giant. We're this and that, and we've got good young players, and we're a good football city. They like considered them. They said Everton. They considered Everton because they were like, oh, we're from Liverpool. We've got a big club, big fan base and stuff like that. I think someone did suggest Palace. And we're in London and we've got this and that. We've got like an old style stadium. Yeah. But anyway, they decided on Nottingham Forest because someone sort of said, we're from a decent sized city. We've got a good fan base. We've won the European Cup. We've got potential. We've got good owners. We've got good players. We've just got promoted. Everyone thinks we're going to go back down again. Let's support us. And they were like, okay, we're going to support Forest. And then ended up supporting Forest. One of the guys put like $100 on them to stay up. Yeah. It was like over evens. They won, obviously. Stayed up, won his money, and then now they're Forest. And now 2 years later, they're like, oh my god, look! He was posting yesterday. I can't believe we're. I
just realised how well they're doing.
Yeah, he was like, I can't believe we're 3rd. We're gonna get in the Champions League. This is crazy. Blah 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 blah, which is just nuts.
Yeah, that is actually sick. But that's the sort of thing, that you don't. Well, to be fair, I was going to say you don't get that in American sport, but I wouldn't know because I don't.
You don't, but that's what he was saying. He was saying like, I think they all support different teams, but I think he's a Knicks fan or something like that. Yeah. You know that you're not going to get relegated from the NBA, or you're not going to get relegated from the NFL or whatever, baseball or whatever. There's jeopardy throughout the whole season. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or even like Forest now, who are 3rd, they know that if they don't keep it up, they're not going to get Europe. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So they're playing for something. Or even imagine if you're one of the smaller clubs and you get like a big draw in the FA Cup and you're watching that. Like, imagine being an American thinking, wow, this is completely different to what I'm used to, kind of thing.
It's so different.
That's why I love watching those, like when one of those small clubs get those big FA Cup Premier League teams, and it's like good. They get so much money from it, kind of thing. Because I think Tamworth have got Tottenham in the 3rd round next month.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and even Bromley, they got Newcastle away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and think about all the money. I know it was away from home, but think about all the TV money they're going to get from that, which is crazy.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't think about trying to get tickets for that.
I don't know if I could be bothered to go all the way up to Newcastle. I can't lie.
Be a good night out there.
It would be good. It would be good.
It'd be a good excuse to do a weekend away.
Yeah. But do you know what would have been good? It'd be good if they knocked Newcastle out and then they ended up getting. Imagine Tamworth knocked out Spurs.
Oh,
and then
they
they knocked out Tamworth,
Yeah.
and they get like a League One team, knock them out, and then they're in the quarters, and they somehow fluke
could
it to
you
Wembley,
imagine?
and then they knock out City in the semis,
Oh, could you? When they're in
and
the
then beat
bit
Palace
before.
in the final.
They actually would as well.
It's so joke.
Get Woodsy out of retirement. Sit on top.
He scored a goal for us. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, man. I could see it happening.
Oh, it's jokes.
No, that is funny.
But yeah, that must be sick. This guy that I was working with, I think he said, this guy I was working with in like telly, he said that when he was younger, he was working on the One Show. He's a Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
And I think, I can't remember what club it was, but they were, they on the One Show, they do the draw. That's where they do the FA Cup draw.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what club it was. I think it was Haven and Waterlooville or something, someone really, really small, like 7th or 8th division.
Yeah.
They got a Premier League team. And then he was like, the chairman was there, and he was like over the moon because all the money that they were going to make, one from the ticket sales, and then the TV revenue was just crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It must be nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I do wonder how different it would be supporting a tiny club like that.
Sometimes I wish I did. Imagine if you support. I know Bromley are League still. They're small. They're a small club in League Two. But imagine if you supported Bromley in like 10 years ago. I don't even know what league they were in.
Yeah.
Imagine that's the only club that you knew existed.
It would be pretty cool. But I do also sort of think it would be because you also get like in Millwall and Charlton fans and Palace fans are like, yeah, I'll support Bromley today. It must feel a bit
sometimes
patronising to an extent.
Yeah.
That you've got all these bigger clubs that are like, yeah.
In a way, you kind of need them to get bigger so that those fans go away.
Exactly.
So let's just say Bromley made it to the Championship and they were there for 10, 15 years. Those fans that support Palace, Millwall and whatever, they would leave. Same thing happened to Palace because you'll get a lot of Palace fans, people that live in the area, especially when Palace were like in the Championship. Like me, I would go to Palace games all the time when I was a kid. I knew I wasn't a Palace fan, but I always want them to win. But as Palace have been in the Premier League for over 10 years, those fans, they're hard to come by now, sort of thing, because they're an established club.
It was always like Arsenal fans, for example, that are living in South London.
Yeah.
That would be like, Palace is my second team.
Yeah.
But then eventually, as Palace keep playing Arsenal over and over again, you start to be like, well,
no,
it's not the same.
It doesn't happen anymore.
No, it's not the same.
Which is that's what would happen with, say, a Bromley or something.
Exactly.
But then, could you imagine supporting Wrexham, for example, where it's like, well, now we're in League One, which is just out of nowhere. Like they were in the conference 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And imagine they've got the money to get into the champion. I don't know where they are in the league, but imagine if they did get promoted. And then, I always think in these lower leagues, everyone's as good as everyone. You never know who's going to go up and who's going to go down. Yeah. So imagine if like Wrexham somehow fluked it to the Prem. Like, that would be crazy.
It's interesting actually. I was listening to something, maybe it was with The Athletic or something like that, and they were saying that it's actually a lot more beneficial to have owners that are public figures, because if you just have a billionaire owner and they get bored, they don't lose anything by saying I'm not going to invest any more money. But if you have like public figures that are kind of rich, if they just decide, nah, I don't want to do it anymore, it looks really bad for their image. Yeah,
there's a lot of pressure on them.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think with the guys I mean, I don't know this, but I don't know if they're the sole owners. That I think they got a lot of investments from other people that own stakes in the club, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know that for a fact, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're rich enough to.
Yeah, I was going to run a football club is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, so someone else probably owns the majority,
and they're just like the face of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, just imagine, it must be like crazy. Even teams like Bournemouth, who Eddie Howe essentially took them from League Two all the way to the Premier League, like an established Premier League club, which is just nuts.
I mean, even Ipswich's story, I really want them to do well this season.
Ipswich is a different one because they were in the Premier League for so long. Yeah. And then they became the longest team to not be in the Premier League. Yeah. And now they're back in the Premier League. So it's a weird one. So like they've got, and also where they are in the country, the only choice you have to support is Ipswich. The nearest team is Norwich, which is an hour and a half away. Yeah. So it's like they'll always have a decent fan base as well. Yeah. Unless obviously there'll always be people that support the big clubs. But if you're from Ipswich, basically you support Ipswich kind of thing.
I meant more just having a double promotion. You don't hear about that nowadays. Going League One, Championship straight out to Prem.
You get it more lower down. You don't usually get League One to Premier League. You'll get a lot of you'll get a lot of League 2, League 1, and then they're stuck in the Championship. Or but you're right. It's not that often kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't want them to just go straight back down and be like, meh.
I think they probably will though.
Probably.
I think they're playing tonight, aren't they? They're playing Arsenal.
And Wolves are quite good now. I think Wolves are the team that they wanted to
No,
go
but
down.
that could just be new manager bounce though. I think you don't know because I think the bottom 3 is what Ipswich, because Wolves are out of the relegation now. They won yesterday, so it's Ipswich, Leicester,
and Southampton.
Okay, so Southampton are definitely down.
It's all of the promoted teams, so they needed someone to be bad.
But then it's weird though because Southampton come up, but they weren't. They were in the Premier League a year before.
Yeah.
So they really shouldn't have been like they were one of the most stable Premier League clubs before they got relegated.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they just I don't know what happened.
They completely changed their style because they were doing like the heavy metal sort of like Jurgen Klopp.
They had Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then for some reason they just suddenly decided, no, I don't want to do that anymore. They got relegated. They brought in Russell Martin or whatever his name is. They started playing wannabe company football.
Yeah. Passing
it about, came up to the Prem, and then obviously just got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, I think as well. Do you know what it is? Too many teams. That's what happened to Burnley last year.
Yeah.
They tried to keep the same style.
Yeah. No.
There's only a few people that have done that. I remember when Swansea come up, they were literally passing and moving in the Championship. Yeah. And that's another one. They went League 1, Championship, Premier League.
Did they?
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers got them promoted.
Yeah.
And he done that all the way through the leagues.
Yeah.
And he was doing pass and move.
Yeah.
And then he done that in the Prem, got them like 12th in the league. And then he left to Liverpool. And then Michael Laudrup came over and he won them the League Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do it, but it's still really hard because Burnley done that last season and they just got relegated straight back down.
Their players just weren't good enough.
You do need to change. Yeah, you do need to change it if you don't have the players.
That's why I rate Thomas Frank so much because he can do both.
Yeah, Thomas Frank's done. Yeah, you're right. He's done an amazing job as well.
Yeah.
He sort of just kept.
I rate him big time.
Sorry?
I rate him big time.
Yeah, he's a really good manager.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's a bit of a weird guy. Like I quite like him.
Yeah. I would love to see him at a bigger club to see how he does. But I don't think any big club would take him because they see him in the Prem playing.
Tottenham probably would.
I could see that.
I reckon Tottenham would take him. Or Everton.
Yeah, but I don't see Everton as much as an upgrade because they are dreadful. If they get relegated, I could see him just going bust.
Oh, they won't go down. They will never go down, especially with Dicey Ball.
Yeah, I mean
they won't. And also, the teams at the bottom are so bad. They're not. There's at least 3 teams worse than them.
There's got to be.
And they can always get a result against big teams. They can always turn it on.
There'll be a year soon where there's a Championship team that's good, and it will be really interesting because recently it's been all the Championship teams that have come up are so bad that it's just almost guaranteed.
No,
that
when Brentford come up a few years ago, they were like mid-table first season.
But that's why I'm saying Thomas Frank was so good.
Yeah, true.
The football he's one of the only.
Well, even that same year or the year before, Bielsa came up and he was unreal.
Oh yeah, Bielsa
for like 2 years, and he kept him up as well.
It feels like this was a while ago though.
Well, Bielsa
was what 5
2019. Yeah, but he kept them up. He was there for like 2-3 years.
But you don't.
And they played proper. Their footy was unreal.
Who else was there? There was.
Fulham come up, but they're basically a
Who was
team.
it that was playing overlapping centre backs?
Sheffield United. yeah. That first year they were unreal, but then the next year they went straight back down. But they're top of the Championship now, so they're going to come straight back up.
So there's not many teams. So there's Bielsa, there's Brentford, there's
Sheffield United.
There's Wolves, but they obviously bought
the
best Portuguese players ever.
But Wolves have been in the Prem for like. But they were in the Prem before that, so they're basically like an establised Prem club.
Yeah.
Who else?
Year that they came up, they were.
Yeah, because they come up in 2018, so they've been in the Prem.
Some of the best players in the league.
Yeah, I remember they literally had Richarlison, but no one knew who he was, and then he left the next year for like 40-50 mil.
Was he at Wolves?
Yeah, that's where he started. He was at Wolves, and I remember watching him play. He scored on his debut. I was like, mate, this guy is a player. And
I thought he was at like Watford or something.
Yeah, sorry, he started at Watford.
Yeah. Then
he went to Wolves. Oh no, you're right. Sorry, I'm thinking of Watford. My bad.
But Watford are good as well.
But Watford are another one. They always go up and down.
Yeah.
But there have been a few teams where you're like, wow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's very rare though. I feel like over like the past 10 years, obviously you've got 30 new teams come up.
But a lot of them are the same team.
Yeah. I think there's only been
like Burnley, Norwich.
4 or 5 of them that have been really good. There's been.
I'd have to see the things who come up.
Yeah.
Who come up that year? Well, Leicester, when they first come up, they weren't the best.
They were dreadful the first year.
But they just about survived.
Just about survived in the league.
Yeah, but then they sacked Pearson. Remember that's what they did. Pearson, because
that's different. Yeah.
No, but they had Pearson all the way throughout the season.
Yeah.
Or did they? Did they sack their?
They must have. got like new manager bounce with Ranieri or something.
No, because Ranieri came in at the start of the season that they won. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Pearson got them promoted, kept them safe. They sacked him at the end of the season, and then they were like, and then they brought in Ranieri, and everyone was like, "Why would you bring in Ranieri? We just stayed up."
Yeah.
And they had like Cambiasso in midfield the year before,
Yeah.
and then they just signed like Mahrez. They got Vardy already, and then they just started winning and they signed Kante. They signed Kante when and they just won everything.
I think he might be like the best Prem player of all time.
Yeah, literally.
He's actually unbelievable.
Best French midfield.
Yeah, best French midfield except for Pogba.
Yeah.
Best French midfield.
Poggy literally Poggy literally getting banned for EPO, and literally Kante still playing in the Euros.
It's because they're like, mate, how's this guy so good? He must be on steroids.
Yeah.
But he's vaccinated.
He's literally John Jones though.
That's literally what it is. Yeah, Pogba is John Jones. Like, go.
Yeah. He's definitely something. He's literally Tyron Woodley.
And De Bruyne is Aspinall. And then
yeah, mate. And Kante's literally like Anderson Silva mixed with Habib, like.
he's Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, Mighty Mouse with Habib. And Salah is Deporio mixed with Yuri. No, Deporio and Alex Pereira.
Yeah, I could see that. I was thinking of who's the one that just won the title at light heavyweight? Is it middleweight?
Oh, Duplessis.
Oh,
that's Sterling.
No, it's not. Damn it! That's actually what Lukaku.
Oh, Duplessis. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mate, that is so true.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, these jokes.
I'm thinking of Bilal Mohammed. That's what I was thinking of. That's.
Bilal Mohammed is literally. Bilal Mohammed is literally.
That's more like De Bruyne, like the most boring player of all.
That's a bit harsh to De Bruyne.
De Bruyne is so boring.
I'd say Bilal Mohammed is more like.
Cross it more, lad. Like Rodri.
Yeah, Rodri or like I don't know, Jorginho or something.
Or
Kovacic.
No, he's too good to be Jorginho.
Yeah, Jorginho's a good player. I think.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's the most overrated Italian of all time. But he's all right.
He's not even Italian.
Wait, is he not Italian?
He is.
Oh, he plays for Italy, but
I think his granddad is Italian.
Yeah, what a weirdo.
He's literally from Brazil.
I do not rate him at all.
He's a good player, but he's not like amazing.
No.
But yeah, what was he talking? Yeah, but there must be some promoted teams where they have done well. But you're right. There's a lot of teams where they've just like Cardiff were really good and they come straight back down.
Yeah, I think the majority of the time, there's going to be at least two of those teams that are going to go straight back down, and the other one has a good chance of going down as well.
Yeah,
it's so rare.
I think last year all the promoted teams went down. It was Luton, Burnley, and actually no, it was Luton, Burnley, and
what's they called? Red team. Sheffield United.
Oh no,
they were dreadful. They were like the worst team ever.
To be fair, that means only two of the promoted teams went down because Sheffield United come up the year before.
I'm almost certain that was the same year.
Oh no, they must have come down. They must have went down and come back up again.
Yeah, and then all three went straight back down. And then this year, all three are going to go straight back down. It's just the gap is getting so big between the Championship.
But that also as well. But the yes and no, because if you look at the top of the Championship, the top 4 or 5 teams have all been teams that have been in the Premier the last 2 years, apart from Sunderland. They're all like teams that.
Who's up there?
So Sheffield United are top. But then it's all like 1 point in it. So Sheffield United, like Burnley, who else is in like West Brom, who've been in the Premier in recent years.
Oh, West Brom.
I
despise West Brom.
And they haven't been in the Premier for a few years now, but they've got a good team. West Brom, Sunderland's up there, and I can't remember who else is there. But it's all of those teams that have been in the Prem.
Yeah.
I kind of want Sunderland to come back up because they've been out of the Premier League for years now.
Yeah.
They got relegated 7 years ago, which is crazy.
They went down to League One.
Yeah, I know, and they're a big, like they got a big stadium and they got a big fan base.
Yeah.
And they got relegated 7 years ago. I remember they had to sell Pickford as soon as they went down.
It's actually so needed for them to like go on a little European run, somehow make it into like Europa League. Real Madrid have an awful year getting Europa League. You're gonna have Joe versus Jude.
They go in the Conference League and they play like Napoel Kosia from Corfu or something.
Yeah, that's needed. That's so needed.
But yeah, that's another thing that is good though. When these, it must be jokes. Imagine like next year.
Yeah.
Say like Forest are third, but a team that finishes say 7th or 8th, they're gonna be in that Conference League.
Yeah, I do like that the teams from the Champions League don't go down to the
Oh,
Europa League
it's
now.
so much. Even
So
and
much
also,
better.
I like the teams that are in the Europa League can't go down to the Conference League.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good. Before I was kind of against the Conference League. Now I really like it because it's good.
Yeah.
Imagine like West Ham won it a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Imagine you're a
sleep in
small club
Yeah.
that can't actually win.
Yeah.
Probably can't win one of those trophies. It's good that you have the chance to do it.
100%, I
Because
agree.
imagine if you, as a Palace fan, imagine if Palace got into that league because they could
Yeah.
easily finish like 8th or 9th one
Yeah,
year.
I would love to go to an away game as long as I'm not going to like somewhere dodgy. I'd love to do an
No,
away
but if you're
game
in a
with
big
Palace.
group, I don't really think it matters to be honest.
Yeah, I think that might make it worse.
Do you think so? I feel like if you keep your head down for the most part, you'll be alright. Like,
Yeah.
like, for example, Liverpool have done a lot of games, and even Chelsea, like these bigger clubs that have been in the Europa League, whatever, random places that you've never heard of. Like,
Yeah.
I remember Liverpool went to Dagestan in 2012 when
yeah.
we you know when Anzi Makachkala,
Yeah, when they were rich.
because that's the capital of Dagestan,
Yeah.
that city,
Yeah.
and we played them like in Russia. We lost 1-0 when they had Samueto.
Oh yeah.
Because they had Samueto, Willian, and Traore.
Traore.
I think he scored against us.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Traore scored against us, and
What a beast.
that's what I'm saying. So it must be. Imagine going to. We're gonna go Dagestan away. Like, that must be so sick. Like, imagine going to like these teams. I think Chelsea played a team the other day
Yeah.
who were from Kazakhstan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That must be sick going to like one of these away days.
And they the pitch was like frozen solid, wasn't it? Is that the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah. So, and I remember checking who was in that conference league. So like a lot of like teams from say Greece or Cyprus and countries like Bulgaria or
Yeah.
like that must be sick. Imagine being a Palace fan as well. You go to an away game at I don't know, just one of these random countries you never heard of.
I was listening to, on the sort of same subject, I was listening to, have you ever heard of the YouTube channel? I think it's like Zealand. He just talks about
No,
random
I haven't heard of
people.
it. No.
So he was talking about a team in Turkmenistan who they're, I don't know, it might be the prime minister or their leader or whatever. They're like a very closed country.
Yeah, it's like a dictatorship. Yeah.
That's the one. Their dictator. He stepped down and let his son be the dictator.
Right.
But he decided he wanted to do something, so he made his own football team.
Yeah.
He created his own special transfer window, got all the best players in this team. They haven't lost a single game.
Oh, really?
And they went into Conference League or something, and they've been absolutely destroyed. It's obviously not. It's like their equivalent, because where is that?
Turkmenistan is Central Asia, but
Yeah, so it's their equivalent of whatever it is.
no, but a lot of those teams, yeah, because like Kazakhstan's in Central Asia, but they're still in UEFA.
Yeah. But
So
for Turkmenistan, it's somewhere different. I don't know.
It'd
know
be
what
like-
league it is. Or what country? I mean, what continent? Sorry.
well, then if they're not in UEFA, it'd be Asia because that's where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's some weird competition.
Yeah.
It's their equivalent. It's
But
quite
they
funny.
it must be sick to go to like one of those away. Because I think Leicester they were in Champions League for a bit, and then they went. I think they was in Europa League as well because they won. Oh, they won the FA Cup, so they went in Europa as
I
well.
remember when they were in Champions League, they got that like Algerian striker. up
Oh,
top.
not El Mohammed. It was like
Yeah.
it's something like that. Yeah.
something like
And they got knocked out. They just lost to Atletico.
Yeah.
They lost like by 1 goal. I
Could
think.
you imagine?
Yeah, they could have got into the thingy.
And they won the FA Cup as well. Being a Leicester fan in that period must be crazy.
Yeah, because they won the Premier League in 2016. They got relegated. Did they get relegated a few years later? Then they came back up and then won the. Yeah.
Oh, is that how?
No. So okay, I got it wrong. So basically, what happened was they won the Premier League in 2016.
Yeah.
Next year they have a bad start. Sack Ranieri, just about stay up. Stay up for a couple of years, and then Brendan Rodgers comes in after they sack whoever their manager was. He comes in, wins the league, the thingy after 2 years, and then they got relegated. I think like a year or so later.
Yeah.
They come straight back up. They come back up last season,
Yeah.
and they've won the FA Cup in between that as well.
Yeah, it's actually crazy.
Like, could you imagine? Like, they were in mid-table obscurity in the Championship for years, and then they go and win the 2 biggest competitions in England.
One of the stupidest things I remember seeing is when Leicester got relegated, and people were saying things like, "Oh, would you trade and go and do things different and make sure you stay in the Prem?" They're like, "No, obviously, I'd rather just win the FA Cup and win the league and then go back down forever."
Yeah, obviously. That's
Obviously.
right. It's like Wigan when they won the FA Cup against Man City,
Yeah.
and then 4 days later, they got relegated against
They were
Arsenal.
in the Championship in Europa League.
Yeah, they were, yeah. And that's another, and they went a few years later, they got relegated down to League One. They might still be in League One.
Oh my god!
But why would they don't
You would
care?
never
Like,
trade them.
you've won the FA Cup and you've beaten like one of the best teams ever. like you beat one of the best Man City teams ever.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy.
It's mental. Like as a Palace fan, we've been in the Prem for what?
11 years.
Yeah. I would get relegated tomorrow to win a trophy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's funny because the producer that I work with on Big Brother on my team, he's a Leicester fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do you support Leicester? Because I thought he was from like Leicestershire, but he's not. He's from Buckinghamshire,
Yeah.
which is like, I don't even know, like west, like 2 hours out of London or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh, when I was a kid, I was like, you know, like a glory hunting United fan in the 90s.
Yeah.
But he said when he went to uni, he went to Leicester. And then he said he would just go on a night out and him and his mates, you could get Leicester tickets for like £5 or less. Mm. So he was like, so he just started going and he loved it and he just became a Leicester fan.
Yeah.
He was like, there's no point supporting Man United.
Yeah,
like
100%.
when it's just glory hunting.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just going to be a Leicester fan, even when they were rubbish.
Yeah.
And that was like years ago because he's like in his mid-30s. This is like nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And obviously he just kept being a Leicester fan after he left uni. And he was like, I was like, wow, so you actually got to see them win the league? He was like, yeah, one of the best moments of my life. Which is crazy. And obviously he works in London now, lives in London, but he said, I can still go to games, like, because he lives in like Croydon in Fulton Heath, and he was like, yeah, so I still go to a lot of Palace games when like he went to Leicester Palace earlier this season, or he'll go to like all of these random grounds.
That's cool.
But that's mad, isn't it?
It's interesting. That's the same thing that happened to Javier. Like almost the exact same thing.
Yeah,
in school, I remember him arguing with everyone being a Man United
I remember
fan.
him saying he was a United fan.
Yeah, and then he started coming to Palace with us, and he's like, no, I'm a Palace fan.
Yeah, which is good, to be fair. I think everyone should support their local team.
Yeah.
I know I don't, but...
I mean, I think people would agree that it's either the team your dad tells you to support or your local team.
But he didn't make me support.
No, of course.
Like,
but I mean, you want to support the same team as your dad, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But if I could go back in time, I wouldn't obviously support Liverpool.
You'd support like Millwall or something.
Anyone that... I think if you live... I was speaking to someone about this the other day. If you support... How can I put it? You know, okay, if you're from Liverpool, you should support Liverpool or Everton.
Yeah.
I think, in a way, supporting, say, one of the Manchester clubs because they're good, say Man City, say if you're a kid now, that's worse than, say, even if you lived in Liverpool and you said, I support Arsenal or Chelsea. Yeah, because you're just supporting them because they're good. Even though you could easily be a City fan and live in Liverpool, but it's only half an hour from your house.
Yeah.
Like, you could, that's the same as, say, being an Arsenal fan that lives in Croydon. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's different for fans in London, I think you're actually eligible to support any London team because you can get to anywhere in London in like you can get to any London ground in less than an hour.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be a West Ham fan and you lived here, you can get there in like 40 minutes. I went to Greenwich the other day from my house. I got there to the O2 in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So if I stayed on the thing for one more stop, I would have been at West Ham. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, London, I think if you're from London, you can support any London team.
Yeah.
But if you're from anywhere else, it kind of doesn't make sense to not support a London team.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah, but
I do still feel like you should, unless you have an affinity. I remember there were a lot of Arsenal fans that supported Arsenal just because of like Henry.
Yeah.
And they played like good football. And
Yeah.
So I can understand that. Like you just load up FIFA, you click on the first team that comes up.
Yeah.
You start playing Henry, and you're like, yeah, this is my team.
And also, I think a lot of people support Arsenal because they are the best team. Like when we were younger, they were the best team, and also because I think they're the biggest. It's hard to say the biggest because of Chelsea's success.
Yeah,
but
I think they would argue.
In terms of support, I'd say they're the biggest club. I would say like they've got the most fans in London in general.
Probably, yeah.
Like they're a really big club, and I just feel if you go to school and your mate supports Arsenal, I'll support Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people just support Arsenal because they're a massive club, and you even meet Arsenal fans that are not from London.
Yeah.
They're not just a London-centric club. Whereas I feel clubs like Chelsea, they're obviously those two are the two biggest clubs. You do get Chelsea fans that aren't from Chelsea, but generally you would never meet a Tottenham fan that's not from London, or even from North. It's rare that you meet a Tottenham fan that's not from North London, or you wouldn't even meet a West Ham fan that is like not from East. I never meet West Ham fans or those other London clubs. True. Yeah, even the big clubs in London, you don't meet. Like you never meet Palace fans that aren't from this area.
It's so rare.
Like
so rare.
Very, very rare. I've met a few, but not very many at all. And it would be something like, oh, my dad supports Palace.
I don't think I've ever met a Palace fan.
Actually, funny, when we were in IB for last year, we were just in the smoking area chatting to this guy, me and Lewis. He was from like Chester or something. He was a Palace fan.
That's weird.
Because he said his dad is from Croydon or something.
Oh, okay.
And then he just supported Palace because he did.
Yeah.
So even though he's from like up north, like near Manchester, he was just always been a Palace fan. I was like, oh, but you don't really hear that every day.
No, you definitely don't.
Which is class, to be fair.
Yeah. What about a team outside of England? Which team would you want to support if you had to?
That's a difficult one.
You'd probably say Barcelona, surely.
I don't know. I feel like I don't like Barcelona as much now that
Nowadays, no.
because of like I liked Barcelona back when I was a kid because of Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
And
was it only Ronaldinho?
that's what got me into Barcelona mainly because of Ronaldinho, and later it was like Xavi and Messi and obviously Iniesta. But then as time's gone on, but I remember at the time, even though I preferred Barca, I liked when Real Madrid got better because it was like a rivalry that you could enjoy. But then when Messi and Ronaldo left, I actually had no interest in because it's just like who cares? Like even now, I'm like, who cares about that game?
I've watched a single El Clasico.
I have not watched El Clasico once in like the last 7 years. Like I don't care about this fixture. Do you know what I mean? And also Real Madrid are so much better as well.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know what team I'd support. What about you?
Yeah, it's interesting that I asked the question. I don't even have a clue in my mind who I'd support.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have a clue.
Maybe.
I think I'd support like a fun like German team or something. That
Yeah.
I'd like, support. You know?
Yeah, maybe like something like that, or something completely random, like someone that's like a decent. They're always in Europe, something like that, but they're not too big. I wouldn't want to support like Real Madrid or Barcelona, or Bayern.
One that's not in the big 5 leagues, or you would
Maybe no. I wouldn't mind one. Maybe a club like Valencia or something, or Napoli, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Dortmund even. I know because they don't ever win anything. Someone that is good but not. Or if I was going to support Spanish, maybe like Atletico or something like that. Yeah.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Napoli would be a good one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Roma.
I'm kind of thinking of who's the team in Italy that plays like quite fun football. I think they won the Europa League the other year. They've got the black winger that used to play for Everton.
Atalanta.
Yeah.
I think
that'd be quite.
And it's just outside of Milan. That's where it is, Milan. Yeah.
That would be a fun.
That would be a good one. Yeah. I think those kind of teams: Napoli, Atalanta. What other teams in maybe France? Or if I was going to support France, maybe I like Marseille. Maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
That'd be a good.
Yeah,
one.
I wouldn't want to support like PSG.
Nowadays, no, I don't really rate them. Just with all of the players that they've been signing, I just think it's proper weird.
Who?
With Marseille.
Why?
I've been listening to a thing. Obviously, they signed Greenwood. But then
they have
a few players.
They've been getting bare like abusers, Abuser FC. Yeah.
Like, oh, give that a rest.
Yeah. Well, apart from that, yeah.
Apart from that, I'll wait for them to leave.
Yeah. Or maybe I don't know, someone like Lille, something random like that. Yeah, I wouldn't.
I quite like the thought of like Saint Etienne.
Why?
I don't know. I remember just seeing a video of their fans. I thought, oh, they look quite cool.
Yeah, I think French fans in general are like that. Just in general,
pretty good.
Just
even the PSG fans, and it's like you've been in a club for like 20 years.
No, but I think French sports fans are just like that in general.
Yeah, they are.
Like even when they do the UFC in France, it's like they're all singing the national anthem. It's like they're like super passionate fans. Even in like the Olympics, they're like super passionate.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it'll be good. Maybe like a Dutch club or something.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah.
Instead of
I think if I had to do that, I think I would just have like one team from each country.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't want to support one of the big ones. You'd want to support someone like Feyenoord or PSV or what's another Dutch club? Utrecht or something random like that. Yeah.
There is a big drop off when you get past those first like 3
Yeah.
Big drop off in quality.
I'd want to support one of those teams or have like one in every like Olympiacos or something.
I feel like it might.
Or a sick Turkish team as well would be sick.
Yeah.
Like having like, can you imagine going to like a Galatasaray game or something?
Picking one of the big two.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be easier to just pick a player that you really like.
Yeah, but what happens when that player leaves or retires? That's the problem.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah.
On that sort of subject, I've been trying to watch Zaha games.
Who did you play for now? Marseille?
Leon now.
Leon,
He doesn't even get on the bench.
Oh mate, he should just come back to Palace in Jan.
I don't think he'd even get on the. I think there's.
He definitely
he's just lost all his confidence.
Yeah, he would definitely be good at Palace though.
I feel so bad, man.
He would still be good at Palace, I reckon.
I love that bloke.
Yeah, he's class. Alright, do you have to head off?
Oh yeah, is it?
It's 10 past, yeah, we should actually go.
Yeah.
Alright, laters, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
I didn't really go on there. Okay, this is Masai Lincoln live on Love the Beat Radio. I've done the first hour of my show because my guest had to leave an hour early, but I'll be posting it on YouTube today at Masai Lincoln. You can catch today's episode there. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.